Hey guys, this is Denise from Mission Bound Creations. Today I want to show you how to make a newborn preemie hat, and we're going to do that with blue loom and some baby soft yarn. Okay, you start off by wrapping some yarn around your anchor peg. This just secures your work. You can do a knot if you'd like. I do this, and then after I've gone a couple of rows I will release that. Okay, I get the peg that's right behind it and I wrap, and I'm gonna go counterclockwise, and as I'm going around I'm pushing my work down with my fingers that's grabbing the loom. Okay, and I push it down because I need a second row, and I'm making space for that second row, and I continue to go around. When I get back to the front, all of my all of my pegs have yarn, and I'm going to go around a second time. Okay, I'm going to come back once I've gotten back to that first peg. Okay, so I'm back to the front, right here where my anchor peg is, and every peg now has 4 strings. And I'm going to grab my hook, and that last one that I did, I brought to the front, and I'm holding it with my finger, and I'm going to take my hook, and every peg has a little dent, so I'm going to put my hook in that dent and grab those bottom 2. Now if you were doing you're wrapping with just one string of yarn, then you only have 2. In my particular case, I always like to use, almost always, like to use 2 strings. So I have 4. So I'm going to grab the bottom 2, over the top 2, and over my peg. Okay, and I'm going to continue to do that. As I'm doing that on the front part of my loom, the back part looks like this. Okay, I'm going to continue to do this about 17 times. Okay, that's about the size that I'm going to make my preemie hat. Different folks do different numbers of rows on their hats. I'm not big on counting. I usually just look at it and figure out whether that's the right size for me or not. And if I'm going to count, I'll usually use coins to count. And when I say row, once you've completely gone around and you're back at that first peg where now you only have 1 row of yarn, well, that's 1 row. Okay, so when you start to wrap your yarn again and you come back to the front and you have loomed and you're back to 1, well, that's another row. Okay, and like I said, for me, I will be doing this 17 times. Well, between 15 and 17, because different yarn, if it's thicker or lighter, you end up doing more or less. Okay, so don't stick to a certain amount and you can't do anything different. You can look at your project and you can know more or less whether you're comfortable with that size or not. Okay, so you come back to the front, you're back here again, and at this point I'm going to let my string go because I feel comfortable that everything is secure. And again, up at the front, I'm going to take the 2, put it over the 2, put it over the peg, and I'm going to continue going. Okay, so you do that the number of times that you feel is necessary. On a newborn hat, I don't put a brim. I don't like it for them. I think it's a bit much. So this hat will be brimless. So once I've done my 17 rows, I'll be back to show you how to close the hat. All right, see you then. Okay, so you've made your hat the length that you want it, and you're ready to close. And you should have just either the two if you use 2 strands or one if you used one. You grab the working strings, your yarn, and just go around the loom a little more than half. So here's the anchor peg, and this would be half of the loom. Just go a little bit over and cut your working yarn. Okay, and then grab your needle. This is a Susan Bates needle. It is not the yarn needle that comes with the sets. I just like it better. It's pointier on the end, and it's just overall a better needle. I like it better, and it's easier to thread. Okay, so once you've thread your needle, you come back to the front to where you left off, and you go to the peg to the right, because that's how you were working, and just put your needle through, and as you're pulling your yarn, those 2 loops will come off the peg. Okay, and as they come off, you gather them. You're going to do the same thing with each of the pegs. Just put the needle, you can rest it right where that little hole is, and in some cases it just works better to pull your loops down a little to feed your needle through. You don't have to do that in some cases, but I just find that it works quicker that way. Okay, just keep doing that, and I'll be back. Okay, so you're at the end of pulling your hat free from the loom on that last one. When you pull it off and you gather it to the side, your loom will come off, and then you'll have this opening right here. Just grab your working yarn and pull to close it tight, okay? And at that point it looks like this. Get the needle and feed it through and turn your hat inside out. Okay, now for some folks they just make a knot here and end the hat. I will normally sew a little bit of it just to make sure that it's closed correctly, and not a lot, just, you know, just a couple of them, nothing major. Just sew from one end to the other and you close like that. At this point you can grab your 2 strings and make a knot and close your hat on this end. I don't like to put knots on newborn hats. I just feel better if I don't. So I will feed it through, and if I'm going to put a pom-pom in it, then I put the yarn back to the front and I leave myself the 2 strings so I can attach the pom-pom like that. Okay, and you can turn the hat back around, and there's your hat with your 2 strings, and it's ready to be decorated. Okay, there you have it. Your hat is closed. One more thing. When you're done making your little preemie hats, consider sending a couple of them to organizations like reliefshare.org, your local hospital, or your local shelter. There's lots of babies that are cold and need a little hat. All right, see you next time. Have a good one.